Ember in the wild makes me wanna sing, point and grin like I just wanna think. Doesn't need a prize, just an honest smile. You know the game when you spot an ember in the wild.
Hey everyone. In the last episode, we picked up the trailer, grabbed some Tim Hortons, and finally pulled away from Spruce Grove. And we've been waiting a long time for this next stop. It is time for the Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo, better known as the AOAE. But for us, this weekend was also something even more personal. It was time for the 4th annual Western Canada Ember Owners Gathering, sponsored by Tochta RV Custom Mattress. This was definitely not our first Ember gathering. The first year, there were only 3 of us. The next year, a few more Ember owners showed up. Then the following year, we had even more. And now, 4 years later, we're heading towards what would become the biggest Western Canada Ember gathering yet. Every year, the Ember Village gets just a little larger. There are more trailers, more owners, more dogs, more stories, and apparently a lot more things for me to unload this time when we arrive. But after months of talking about it, planning it, gathering prizes, and trying to coordinate everybody, we are finally on our way. And at least for the moment, the weather seemed to be holding. That wouldn't last. Not even close. When we pulled into the grounds for the AOAE, Ember Village was already starting to take shape. Trailers were arriving, awnings were out, familiar faces were popping up everywhere. And this is one of my favorite parts of the gatherings. We spend a year talking through social media, messages, video calls, and then suddenly everyone is standing in the same field again. But before we could get too comfortable, we had work to do. Now, Ember had sent us a really big box of swag for the gathering, so we cracked that open and started sorting everything out. Some of the items would be handed directly to Ember owners, like some of the hats and stuff, while others were combined into like a larger giveaway package that we were able to give to the AOAE and put on the pile.
Yeah, Ember giving us some swag. We're giving some away.
We started putting up our RVing with Joe flags, setting out some of the products and equipment that we had brought for the weekend to show off. And I want to thank Fraserway RV, who has dealerships across Canada from one end to the other. I don't think I could have got these feather flags without your help. Thanks a bunch for being such a great sponsor and supporter of our channel. And then Nick and Dieter finally figured out to use one of those Lippert ladders and some rope, and they set up the Ember flags on its own Lippert flagpole, I guess you'd call it, and everyone could see our flags from the main area. Now, we wanted people to be able to see some of the prizes we brought, ask any questions about these cool products, and learn a little bit about the companies that really help make all of this giveaway possible. Of course, the biggest item on display was the big Tochta gift certificate. Tochta was the official sponsor of the 4th annual Western Canada Ember Owners Gathering, and they had provided a $1,500 US gift certificate. That's worth more than 2,000 Canadian dollars for someone to get a brand new custom mattress for their RV or for their house. It was a huge prize, and because Tochta builds mattresses that are built to fit weird shapes like they find inside RVs, it really does help with the Ember owners, especially those with Murphy beds. But that was only the beginning. BLUETTI, well, they had provided an Elite 30 V2 portable power station. Haloview, they sent one of their backup camera and tire pressure monitoring systems where it's all in one view, so you can see your tire pressure and your backup camera all in the same monitor. LETWESAF, they provided the cool camping perimeter alarm systems. Turbro, well, they sent us some of their portable misting fans. And AUTO-VOX, they supplied a solar-powered backup camera system that you can use kind of anywhere you want. And then our channel, RVingWithJoe, we wanted to add a few prizes of our own. So we got a couple of different barbecue cooking tool sets and this really large hammock-style camping chair that's like rated up to 300 pounds. It's like I could use it. And then we combined the cooking set and the hammock chair and called it the RVingWithJoe Get Busy Living Package. And by the time we had everything out and everything was displayed, the giveaway area was starting to look a lot less like a table and a lot more like a small outdoor equipment store. Now, as more Ember owners arrived, we unloaded the e-bikes and we started making our way around the village. I had to do at least one full lap. It's been a year since many of us had seen each other. There were lots of handshakes, hugs, trailer tours, stories about everything that had happened since the previous gathering, and there were dogs, so many dogs. I think the Ember village had more dogs than ever before, and they all had to meet each other and of course pee on everything. But eventually everyone gathered around the central area back in the main AOAE zone, and we were there for a little bit, but we had a really long travel day, a long setup day. Johanna and I were tired, and we headed back to the Ember for an earlier than usual night on our first night.
This is what 10 o'clock looks like when you're around Edmonton, Alberta. Yeah, it stays pretty bright here. I think it doesn't actually get dark till around midnight.
We figured we'd get a fresh start in the morning. And then it started to rain. Over the next 24 hours, our weather apps started lighting up with yellow rain alerts and all kinds of bad news. The alerts were not exaggerating. The rain came down hard. First, it looked like this typical Alberta storm that was just going to blow through, dump some water, and keep moving. But this system didn't really seem interested in moving. It stalled over the area and just kept feeding more and more moisture directly into the AOAE grounds. We weren't talking rain in millimeters, we were talking centimeters. We were talking inches of water. The ground was already saturated, and all this extra rain just made the whole thing a lot worse. But Saturday morning still arrived after a long, long night of rain, and we still had an event to do. So I started the day with something that I was going to come to really appreciate: a clean, dry pair of socks. Now, Saturday morning began at the RVingWithJoe Learning Center tent. That's right, we sponsored the Learning Tent again this year, and the first event of the morning was the AOE Content Creator Meetup. Creators from across the AOE community, they all gather in the tent. We reconnect, we trade stickers, we trade ideas, we talk about what's been working for each other and what we haven't been seeing working. And we finally get to spend some time in person. Some of the attendees include the Unexpected Off-Road, Van City Adventure, Shank Outdoors, Adventure Dog Overland, Amber on the Wild Side, and a bunch of other members of the AOE creator community. We always leave there learning something. And considering what the weather was doing outside, having a large tent where everyone could gather and learn was really becoming more valuable by the minute. And right after the content creator meetup, it was my turn to teach a class about drones. Now, for the record, because this was an advertised event in Canada, I obtained a special flight operations certificate from Transport Canada in advance for my drone operation at this event. I also carried that documentation with me throughout the event. Operating a drone at an advertising event is very different than simply launching one at your campsite, and I wanted to make sure that we were following all the rules that Canada Transport makes. And we covered the rules: safety, situational awareness, and some of the challenges of traveling with a drone in both Canada and the United States, since the laws are very different between the two. Next year, I want to bring in an operator with even deeper professional certifications, a little more official knowledge about droning, and we got someone in the Ember village who I have in mind for that. But I didn't want to just talk about that dry rules and stuff. I wanted to actually show the drone flying and show them how it works when you want to fly your drone and record it and land it. So in a clear spot, I was able to send up the drone briefly, even though it was in the rain. In fact, I learned my drone works rather well in the rain. I've never flown it in such rain. And it wasn't ideal, but it gave everyone a chance to see the equipment, understand how it works. And despite the rain, we had a great group and a great class. By the time we finished, it was becoming obvious the grounds were in real trouble. The puddles were now turning into ponds. The ponds, they were turning into lakes. And the lakes, well, they were joining to become one big body of water in the middle of everything. and vendors had to keep moving their equipment and their displays. Even whole booths had to relocate as new low points on the ground would be discovered by more and more water. Vendors had to keep moving their equipment, displays, and even whole booths had to move because water kept finding new low points on the ground. And, all of a sudden, people were in the middle of a little mini lake. A place that looked perfectly dry an hour earlier was suddenly sitting in several inches of water. People were repositioning what they could to keep things dry. The rain would stop and ease for a little bit and give everyone hope, and then it would just come right back. Now, we had packed rain jackets, but we weren't prepared for this much water. And eventually we did what a lot of other people were doing. We ended up retreating to our RV for a while. Now, this is one of the advantages of having a nice Ember at an outdoor event like this. We had heat, we had dry clothes, we had dry food, we got Starlink and television. So we ended up staying inside for a few hours there, just listening to the rain hammer on the roof, watching the water levels rise and all the mud get muddier. A lot of other Ember folks decided to take a nice long rainy nap that afternoon. But it became clear the giveaway was still happening and it was time for everyone to gather. So we grabbed my third pair of dry socks for the day, pulled on some of our pretty wet rain gear, and headed back out. Now, I saw in the news that other festival and events that were in that area, they had to cancel their activities because of this rain, and people were asking for refunds. But the AOAE people, they're built a little differently. They were soggy. They were muddy. They might have been a little tired, but boy, they were still happy. Hundreds of people packed themselves as tightly as they could into the one large building that offered some relief from the rain. But that building couldn't quite hold everybody, so there were still some people gathered outside, wearing rain gear, standing under umbrellas, crowded around the entrances so they could hear what's happening inside and seeing if their ticket got chosen. It was crowded, it was humid, it was loud, but that energy throughout the whole arena was really unbelievable. After a very, very heavy speaker, a man who actually survived a bear attack and explained to everybody what it was and how he survived, we ended up going into a lighter part of the event, and that was the big giveaway. But this wasn't going to just be the normal Saturday giveaway. The organizers, well, they were getting pretty concerned that with this many attendees, there was going to be some leaving early on Sunday because of the weather. Now, that meant that the Sunday evening giveaway may never actually reach the audience, so they called an audible and they decided to put together the Saturday and the Sunday giveaways all into one enormous super giveaway on Saturday night. The prize pile was ridiculous. Camping equipment, outdoor gear, accessories, misters, BLUETTI devices, tools, all kinds of products from vendors and sponsors throughout the AOA community. I even ended up winning a Kuma water bottle.
You guys are absolute rock stars. You're just sitting there smiling and enjoying the time because this is the Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo, and it's not really an adventure without a little bit of adversity. So yeah, you guys should be really proud of yourself for sticking it out. And as you can see here, it's basically Christmas in June. So we're gonna do some really awesome giveaways. Massive thanks to all of our vendors as well. For those of us that ended up putting in the new lake, the pool company was supposed to show up to do that. We were gonna give you guys a heads up, but they came early, so everybody that was playing around with that, it was really cool.
But not all the RVing with Joe prizes could be given away that night. We had a dilemma. We were still collecting names at our Sunday RV class. That's what we had announced, so that we could do the giveaway based on all the attendees of the class and the Ember Village attendees. It was a giveaway within the giveaway. But I wanted to make sure everyone in the building knew, that everyone outside standing in that rain knew, that there were more prizes still coming tomorrow morning. And that included talking about the backup cameras and Tochta and their gift certificate. We explained to everybody about Tochta,
including a $2,000 giveaway gift certificate for a custom RV mattress that you get made to fit your mattress or your RV. So stop by the class, at least to drop your name in. Who here is here in an RV? Anyone here in an RV? We've got an RV class tomorrow, and at the RV class, we're doing 3 more giveaway items. And we also have some backup cameras and TPMS monitors. Give them all away. 9:45 in the morning tomorrow. Thank you.
Awesome, you bet, Joe. You're welcome. Thank you very much for everything that you always donate. It's awesome.
And once that announcement was made, it was time to start giving away the items that we had brought for that night.
From Ember recreation vehicles. What is in here? This plus 2 drink tickets.
Oh!
Okay. So you can actually fill this up after your giveaway.
It's a flashlight. 187.
Dude, you gotta strut. Look at you. Stop it. Sir. That's for you. Yeah, of course.
First up for us was the Get Busy Living package.
The Get Busy Living camping package is a 21-piece GCI camping set with a chair. Actually, that's a hanging chair.
That's a hammock chair. Yeah, hammock chair.
Yeah, hammock chair. Awesome. Thank you, Joe. This is going to go to somebody very special. This is a nice prize. And it's dry. It's a dry chair.
436-281.
281.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Hey!
Absolutely, yeah. To us, just for you.
Well, it's just for you. That's all.
It's for you guys.
No sponsors.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Awesome. All right, Ryan. Who's this going to?
All right, I'm skipping the 436 part and going straight to 257.
257.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Thought it was a banana running towards me. There you go.
Yay!
Thank you very much for coming to the AOAE Expo.
Next, there were the LETWESAF camping perimeter alarm systems, and these use radar-based sensors to watch for movement around your campsite, tent, or RV. You don't need like your Wi-Fi or phone or cellular service. It works in the dark, it works in bad weather, and it can detect movement so you know when something's getting close to your campsite. These things are going to be awesome, and you're going to see them in an upcoming video. It's a whole new layer of security.
Alarm from RVingWithJoe and LETWESAF. So this is a radar monitor alarm system. This will tell you who's trying to get into your campsite.
Bears, methods.
Oh, ladies, bear kit right here.
Yeah.
This will tell you when your husband's coming back drunk to the campground and you already locked the door. You don't gotta have that conversation.
153. 153.
153.
Right over there.
Hey.
While he walks around,
excuse me, one
one
sec.
more announcement.
Then we gave away the Turbro Air Supply Misting Fan. Now, considering the amount of water falling out of the sky that weekend, this wasn't the weekend for a misting fan, but on a hot, dry camping weekend, this thing was going to be amazing. It's got its own rechargeable battery. You can fill it up with water, and because it's cordless, you can just push it around. You can wheel it around. It's really convenient. And again, in the next camping trip, you're going to see us trying it out because it's getting pretty warm this time of year.
RVingWithJoe and Turbro. All right, this is actually really cool. This is a, if it's really hot, you're not going to use this today, right? All right, who wants it?
205 is
205.
Yep. 205.
There you go, brother. All right, next up we got...
Then it was time for one of the most coveted giveaway items of the evening. They waited till nearly the very end to give this one away, the BLUETTI Elite 30 V2 portable power station. It's a sweet compact unit. You probably seen me talk about it on my channel already. 288 watt hours of battery capacity. It can get up to 600 watts out of normal AC output, and it's even got some boost modes. For me, I'm charging my phone, my laptop, I'm running it straight off of there, charging the cameras, the drone batteries, lights, all kinds of stuff. If you got a CPAP machine, this thing will be awesome. It's super lightweight, and you can tell from the reaction in the room that people knew exactly what this was and they wanted it.
RVingWithJoe and BLUETTI themselves have teamed up with a really cool giveaway for us. We're giving away an Elite 30 V2 600 watt portable power station. Yeah, we've all used a lot of power here this weekend trying to keep things going and keep things on, and this is going to get you guys through the rest of it for sure. Big shout out to RVingWithJoe and BLUETTI for this one. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate every one of you. Yeah, big round of applause for that one. All right.
177 is going home with the solar generator.
It's pretty close to a
There we go, over there.
Oh, no way!
started using mine. It's awesome. It's totally awesome.
Are we on the last two?
The rain had started to lighten a little bit, but everyone was so soaked. We'd spent the day walking through water, teaching classes, trying to keep the event going, being a good supporter. But man, once again, I could not stay out late. We went back to the Ember, peeled off another set of wet clothes, and called it a night. Outside, the Expo grounds were totally covered in water, and it continued to rain that night. But Sunday morning was coming, and that next morning we experienced something that was a miracle because we had a potluck planned.
Well, after some of the worst rain we've ever seen at the Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo, and I mean the worst rain we've ever seen here, it's a nice day here on Sunday. Saturday was a rain out. Everyone made the best of it. Everyone went out, did the classes, we did the events, we enjoyed the vendors, but man, it was rainy. They ended up consolidating the giveaway into the first night. And that was important because I don't know if everyone's gonna stay for the second night given how much rain there was. So they did everything last night. We've got a few more giveaway items that we're gonna give away at the RV class, including the Tochta mattress, the Haloview, and the some other stuff. You can see everybody's having breakfast this morning. There we go. There's the Ember Village with the communal breakfast that we have here. You can see we have many Embers. Biggest Ember gathering yet, happy to say. Lots of big old Embers too. Makes mine look like, I think I got the small one. That's okay. We don't want a big one. Had a little bit of a mistake last night because I thought I'd be smart, run the generator while we were at the giveaway, and I'd turn on the electric heater because it dries out the trailer better. And then when I got home, I forgot to turn off the electric heater, and then we ran the batteries down. And that's why I'm running the generator this morning and getting a whole round of grief from everybody for running my generator this morning. But too bad. I like to keep my RV warm. I like my wife to have her heating pad. I like to watch TV before I go to bed. I got an RV to use energy, not conserve energy. That's just the reality of it. So here we are. Everyone's eating. I'm gonna head over there and grab a little bit of meat, a little bit of eggs. We're gonna get on, we're gonna do the RV class today, which is where we're gonna do the giveaway for the Tochta mattress, the Haloview, and some other things. I appreciate the Ember community here, putting everything together. I appreciate Ember for sending us some swag and flags to make this Ember gathering a little better. And I wanna thank the AOAE for really putting on a good show and all the people who came, even though because it's raining, Alberta is a tough bunch. And Albertans aren't gonna let the rain stop having some fun. So here we are, the rain has stopped. We're gonna get on with Sunday. Let's go check it out.
And the timing worked out. We finished eating, and after everyone cleaned up and started moving towards different events that were still happening on Sunday, it started to rain again. And we had one more class to deliver. That was the Sunday RV class.
Action.
Hey everybody, welcome to... I'm Joe from RVingWithJoe.
Now, our Sunday RV class covered RV ownership, maintenance, safety, and some of the lessons that people have learned after years of traveling. We introduced a few new topics this year. We also returned to the fundamentals because the basics still matter. Got to talk about weights, tires, electrical systems, making sure your rig is set up right. And I always like to talk a little bit about the difference between the different axles because up here, independent axles and torsion axles go a long way on these dirt roads. Even though it was still raining out and it was still very wet, the Expo family came through. We had a full house. The learning center was full. People were standing outside of the tent. We passed around the giveaway box and people kept putting their names in. So as the presentation continued, we got to a spot where it was time to start giving some stuff away. So we paused to give away the AUTO-VOX solar backup camera. This is the 5B backup camera, and it uses solar power with USB charging available as a backup. Sends a wireless video signal back to the monitor inside the tow vehicle. It's magnetic, so you can put it just on the back of your trailer, or you might want to put it on the front of your truck, which is what I'm thinking of doing as a secondary use, so I can also use it as an off-road camera because I don't have a front-facing camera on my truck. Then I can see rocks, obstacles. It's already super useful, but some of those extra purposes that I can think of make it even more useful.
One last time is we already did the BLUETTI last night with the general one, so congratulations to the winner. We're gonna do the AUTO-VOX solar and magnetic RV cam or off-road cam. That's the way I see it. It's the way I'll be demoing it on my channel.
This one, right?
the AUTO-VOX, which is the solar backup camera or off-road camera, goes to Daniel Goodley.
Thank you, guys.
No problem. If you have any problems with that, you let me know. I got one of mine as well, so I'll know all about it.
And Nick, he delivered his RV maintenance presentation. Now, you know, maintenance isn't necessarily as exciting as which RV are you going to buy or which trip you're going to go on. But boy, RVs are exposed to so much vibration. And in Alberta, they get so much weather wear, from the snow to the hail. You need to take care of your RV. Seals need to be checked. You got to check the fasteners and the tires and the brakes and all this kind of stuff. So Nick rolled through all of that, gave his best advice that people should really listen to. And then we got to the final giveaways. Now, the Haloview backup camera was one of the things we were giving away. It's not just a backup camera, but it's also a tire pressure monitoring system, which is so important these days when it comes to RV safety. The nice thing is it has this 1080p wireless camera, and the real-time tire pressure shows in the same monitor. So I'm hoping to install and demonstrate one of these if I get one from Haloview. We haven't figured it out yet, but I'm sure they'll send me one.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay, it's this one.
This is for the Haloview. This is the backup camera and tire pressure monitor system. And I happen to know this person just got a new trailer, Alan Yim, who is not, is he present? It's okay. You don't have to be present. I made that clear because especially with the Sunday cancellation. But Alan, give him this, and now it'll be safe for you. Congratulations to the Ember. This guy's won a lot of stuff. I think every one of them won something last year.
But after that winner, we finally had the final grand prize. This is one of the highest valued prizes at the whole expo. $1,500 US, it's over $2,000 Canadian. We mentioned it the night before at the giveaway, and people were clearly listening because there were a lot of extra people there, and I have a feeling they came specifically for this draw. And I don't blame them. RV mattresses often have unique sizes, and our Ember ones, for instance, have a Murphy bed. They got a split in the middle. And that's where Tochta RV mattresses really excel. I mean, that's one of the areas they really focus on is RVs, as well as trucks, you know, big rigs. Anyone with an odd size space, if you want a nice quality mattress, these guys do it.
And last
one. This is the big one, folks. And you can tell there's no payoff here. Whoever he chose.
We're supposed to do that later?
Make sure you take how much did you want? All right. I am not familiar with this person, but I am happy that Joan Harris. Joan Harris.
Now, the Ember owners themselves, they were definitely hoping the prize would stay inside the Ember Village, especially seeing that Tochta actually sponsored the Ember Village. But the winning name actually belonged to another RV owner who came from one of the other villages at the expo. For a split second, you could see the Ember owners kind of processing their loss, and then the whole crowd just burst out in cheer for this person, and that's what this event's about. It's about everyone cheering for the winners. We all come from our different RV villages around the expo. We all tow different trailers, but when the person who wins that prize wins, everyone's happy for him. So I want to thank Tochta for doing that. They did much more than just provide a giveaway. They did sponsor the 4th annual Western Canada Ember Owners Gathering, and they helped us turn a group of trailers in a muddy Alberta field into a real community event. So thank you.
So we did the whole presentation. I ran the computer and the monitor off the BLUETTI for over an hour, and it's down to 72%. So that gives you a sense of the kind of usability you get with this BLUETTI device.
I was really thankful for all the people who stayed because they were right about Sunday. A lot of people did start packing up and leaving, and I understand. We were staying inside a comfortable Ember RV with heat, bathroom, dry clothing, a nice bed. Some of these attendees, they were sleeping in small tents. The bedding was damp. Their clothes were wet. The ground underneath them had turned to mud. This was not an easy weekend. A few Ember owners had also been scheduled to leave Sunday regardless of the weather, but those who stayed joined the Expo core group, the Ember Village, our closest village neighbors, the Shank Village, the Expo volunteers, the vendors who spent the weekend moving their displays around, a lot of the content creators, the hardcore Expo faithful who weren't going to allow a few inches of rain to end the weekend. That evening, everyone gathered one last time.
Well, the AOE is definitely winding down early this year. You know, I think the organizers really did have to battle to make the best of what was effectively a rained out festival. But the hardy Albertans didn't let that stop them, so everyone just stuck it out because, let's face it, the worst day camping is better than the best day of being at home. So I think people really still enjoyed themselves and made the best of it. Sometimes the booze had to move because the lakes kept growing and the mud pits are nuts. You can see what I'm walking next to right now. I'm really glad I got those KO3s and 4x4 because we're gonna be mud bogging it to get our trailers out of here. But just a big shout out to the AOAE for sticking it out. Everyone, the organizers and the people. I gotta be really careful here. I'm gonna slip in the mud. We're gonna go for one last visit over to the saloon where all the Ember Village folks are hanging out. A lot of folks, we all stay till Monday. Well, let's face it, I'll take a free night RVing anywhere, but especially here. So most of us are leaving tomorrow morning. The tented people definitely left. I mean, who wants to tent in the mud and the storms? And as much as, you know, these grounds, this Medicine Lodge rodeo grounds, they're kind of hallowed. They go way back. One of the organizers, Jason, his family's had this property for like a century. Before that, it was First Nations. And you're in this little valley that has historically escaped a lot of the storms. I mean, that's why it's here. The First Nations were here before. And apparently the story goes is they planted a hatchet in the ground at the foot of this valley, and that splits the storm. That's the old First Nations theory behind it. And you know, the last couple of years we did have some storms roll through, but we got spared the most of it. We had some sprinkles a couple times, but it was fine. So this year it just didn't work out. But the festival was still awesome. We consolidated the giveaway into one day, or they did. So normally it's a 2-day giveaway over each night, but they decided to kind of consolidate it in the first night because they knew a lot of people weren't gonna be able to make it through this one. They needed to leave a little early. I've been through a few pairs of shoes that are all soaked, a lot of socks, and like a fool, just throwing away the trash, like a fool, I only brought one pair of jeans because I'm like, it's summer, I'm just gonna bring lots of shorts. I forgot I was in Canada, where you always want to bring your snow gear and your swim gear on every RV trip. But I'm gonna go pop in now. Let's go check out the last of the folks, the hardiest of the hardy, who are still here on the last day of AOAE.
People kept buying extra bunches of drink tickets and donating them to the whole group that was there. There were so many tickets circulating around that we couldn't use them quick enough, at least not before I tapped out. It had been a hard weekend. It had been wet, it had been challenging. It tested the equipment, the organizers, and every person sleeping in that field. But Alberta people are a hardy breed. When you live through the winters on the prairies, the sudden storms near the Rockies, and everything else Mother Nature throws at you in this province, it takes a lot more than a flooded festival to dampen your spirit. The rain, though, it did dampen pretty much everything else. Our chairs, our tents, our shoes, every pair of socks I owned, but it didn't dampen the spirit. By Monday morning, the weather was beginning to clear. The clouds were lifting. The rain had mostly stopped. And after everything we experienced, it was time to say goodbye. We took down the RVingWithJoe flags. Nick took down the Ember flags. We packed up the equipment. Everyone had their Kuma shelters packed up. The dogs said goodbye to each other. We said goodbye to the dogs and everybody. We exchanged hugs. We promised that we wouldn't wait a whole nother year to see each other again. And the final 4 Ember folks, we stuck around, we pulled together, and we rolled out with one small convoy. Four Embers rolling away from the AOE grounds. after surviving one of the wettest and wildest gatherings I had ever camped in.
Oh, hear it calling. Oh, morning bright. Oh, wild and weightless. Oh, chasing life, restless on the road, nothing pulling us backward. Every turn unknown, nowhere to go but forward. Oh, leave the worry.
Soon we would split off in all our different directions. Some were heading home, some were continuing to other campgrounds. Johanna and I, we decided to head towards Sylvan Lake, Alberta. And after a week of rain, mud, and flooded festival grounds, a relaxing Alberta beach town sounded perfect. And Sylvan Lake turned out to be a real gem of a town. But within 24 hours of arriving, we found ourselves sitting in an emergency room, looking at an x-ray and wondering whether surgery was going to happen in Alberta or back in BC. But that's in another episode. Thanks, everybody. Get busy living.